This video is going to be talking about Devin Duvernay's explosive plays. He's got 3 touchdowns through 2 weeks. Obviously, we're 1-1, and we got a lot to be disappointed about. And I will be breaking down the coverage stuff in a video forthcoming. But I wanted to put something out there about Duvernay, about this kickoff return. I knew, obviously we all knew at this point it was over. He was gone. I'll talk about the blocking scheme. You got a really nice job by, I think, Jeremiah Moon. And then I think it's Riley Webb coming together for a double team down here. And then you also have a really nice job by Kyle Hamilton and I think Geno Stone. They're going to ride their defenders out in this direction. They're going to ride defenders out in this direction. I'll break this down in a little bit more detail. Ricard obviously gets a good block. Harrison, ironically, the guy who kind of leads Duvernay down the field, is the guy who does the least, at least in terms of the actual blocking scheme. And I'll talk about a mistake that I think the Dolphins make with their 4 and 5 on the right-hand side. But first, we'll show a couple of touchdown passes that I've already broken down in a couple other videos. And again, I've spoken to you guys a couple of times before. I want you to understand the way content creation works. If NFL Films does a highlight film using this play right here, then they will claim monetization of anyone's video that utilizes this. So understand that. And if you ever consider supporting people, either on Patreon or just even a $2 or $5 a month YouTube channel membership, please do so. If not, if you don't support me, support another Ravens content creator. I love this matchup where we've got Duvernay against Hall, the DB, and we're going to run a wheel. I think Lamar, and I said this a couple times, I think Lamar knew where he was going with the football. Why? Because they got Ahmad Gardner here. They got Michael Carter II here. DJ Reed over here. So I think Lamar's just looking at it like, I like my matchup of Duve against Hall, a guy that we had looked at in the preseason and said that he had been beat twice for touchdowns in the preseason, difficulty turning his hips, and he's beat here. He's closed, and I've said this before. I don't know if y'all co-sign it or not. That's fine. But it's interference, even if we don't catch that ball. But it's an unbelievable catch. And if you look at his film from college, Duvernay made plays like this. Obviously the NFL level, talent level is different. So the DBs you're going to be going against are going to be all #1 DBs from college. Got it. Unless they went to Alabama, they could be the top 4 or 5 DBs from there. I'm just glad that we're getting a chance to see what he can do. Now I'm going to address this play a little bit in detail because I said something in a previous video and someone asked me, and I don't think I answered it quite very well in text form. So this is the Marquise Brown route. What I mean by that is normally Duve was in the slot over here on this mesh concept, and he was running one of the unders coming from the bunch side. Duvernay was normally lined up here. In the past, you can see we got Prochet there. And by the way, Prochet's clearly not been healthy. That's why he was inactive in week 2. Marquise Brown was the guy who was running these kind of later developing deeper routes. Makes sense. Marquise Brown has so much speed. My point in saying this is Duvernay was probably capable of this last year. Am I trying to say we should have let Duvernay get all those targets? No, that's not my point. I'm just saying that as people graduate, think of this like high school, okay, or college. As people graduate, Marquise Brown moves on to a different team. Let's say he graduated, all right? The sophomore or freshman moves up into that next role and kind of takes advantage of those opportunities. We don't think of it that way in the NFL, clearly, like freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. In my opinion, it kind of helps me think of the impact that certain guys are able to have in their first year or their second year. Now, this obviously being Duvernay's third year, we're seeing an explosion of offensive contribution. I don't have any of his receptions against the Dolphins in here. This is just really meant for me to break down the kickoff. But what I love about this, obviously, and I talked about this in another video, we're using the gravity of Andrews to open up this space over here between the E and the T and Jets for us to run on top of. And Lamar is reading, he's seeing this safety, check up on Andrews. That's a common defense that people have been doing. What's going to happen? What's going to happen is if we hit enough of these, people are going to stop having that backside safety key on Andrews with the over route or the little sit route in the middle, or Andrews oftentimes will bring it kind of like a more shallow over route here. So that I think it'll have a multiplier effect as the season goes on if we hit enough of these. We've hit a bunch of them already, right? We've hit Bateman on 2 long bombs, one of them being a slant. We got Duve here on 2 third downs. Not 50-yard passes, but they're quite long. All right, as we run this through the first time, what I want you to do is I want you to watch. I believe this is Jeremiah Moon. If it's not, my apologies. And then this is Riley Webb over here. So you're going to see them double team one of the interior defenders for the Dolphins. And I'm going to pull this back multiple times so I can kind of talk through it. Okay. So one of my best friends that I coach with for a long time is a special teams guru. So for me, I kind of am able to explain things because of the knowledge that he's imparted upon me. You can see the double team there. I think that's Moon and Riley Webb. If I have the players messed up, let me know. We're gonna pull this back. Okay, and the frames are gonna stutter a little bit just because of the player I'm using. I think this is the number one, who's normally a guy who's assigned to run to the inside of the goalpost. I think that's who they get. Now, second time on the watch through, watch the 4 and the 5 up here. Watch them both run past the play. Ricard gets one of them, and I think Justice Hill tries to get the other one, but he really doesn't need to. It's these two guys here, just so you know. One of them is assigned to be the contain player, probably this guy here. He's assigned to, this guy, contain means like build a wall here. You know, don't let the returner get outside of you. Cool, understood, right? That makes sense. But you can't just run up field, let him go cut up inside of you. That's not force. That's not contain. You're not containing anything. You're just on your outside gap, but you're leaving a big ass gap on the inside for him to run up inside of. All right, you guys got the concept? All right, so the 4 and the 5 kind of run up field. We took care of an inside lane. So we've kind of stopped pressure here, you know, up the middle, and then we're kind of kicking out with Ricard here. So then what that does is it allows Duve to run the path he runs, kind of veered us to the outside. All right, we're going to let it run one more time. You're going to see Harrison run downfield, and then I'm not picking on him because I think he's having a nice start to the season, but Harrison is the guy who actually does the least prior to this right here. You'll get the end zone angle. I don't know if anybody else has broken down this kickoff film or kick return film. You know, obviously there's many people who are capable of doing it. To my knowledge, this is Moon. This is Riley Webb. I don't know who this 5 is here. This up back here is. This tackle, we would call tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle, but obviously they're not linemen. I think this is Malik Harrison right here, and I don't think he touches anybody until he touches the kicker. And I'm not saying that he did a poor job. So let's look at the double team right there between Webb and Moon. And then I think you've got Hamilton's going to ride this defender that way. And I can't remember who this is right here, but I think he's going to ride this defender this way. I thought that was Geno Stone, but it doesn't look like him right here while I'm watching it now. That's 53. I don't know who he is, to be honest with you. You can see Ricard getting the kick out block. That's the 4 and the 5. Okay, that's the 4 and the 5 here. So this guy's job is to not let the ball get outside of him, which he doesn't, but there's a huge lane. It's a fine line. I mean, it's a difficult thing to do, man. He can't veer off inside too much, because if he does, what's Duve going to do? Duve's just going to bounce it. You guys see Harrison looking back. Wallace did a decent job too. Someone's already aware of what's happening. I think that's Geno Stone, but I could be wrong. No, that's Jeremiah Moon. He looks like a special teams guy, man. Great design, great execution. I think that the Dolphins had 2 guys try to avoid on the wrong side. You normally want to avoid to the ball. It looked like 2 guys kind of avoided to the left because they saw Duvernay initially veer off to their left, and then he cut it back to the other side. Nice design by the Ravens, great execution, and just talent, speed, explosiveness by Duvernay. He's a special talent. You know, apparently he suffered a concussion in the Miami game. Certainly hope that he's healthy for his sake, number one. And then selfishly, as a Ravens fan, we hope that he's healthy so he can return. But I wouldn't want to see him back out there until he's completely healthy. Let me know what you think of Duvernay's impact so far. I think it's been amazing. Just happy for him, man. Not speaking on Marquise Brown at all. Just happy that he's taken advantage of the opportunity. I wish Tylan Wallace, I wish Mekhi Polk, could get opportunity and take advantage of it. But there's just not that many snaps for those guys to play. Which is kind of related to a personnel issue that I talked about in my reaction video, but that's a topic for another day. Let me know what you think of my breakdown of the kickoff return, if you think there's any elements that I missed. I love the job that Riley Webb, and I think Jeremiah Moon did. Harrison, he didn't do a poor job, but he just didn't get any blocks prior to dealing with the kicker. I thought Hamilton, somebody else, maybe it was 53, I don't know who it is, rode 2 guys out of there, kind of opened it up, and then Ricard did a good job. Justice Hill got just enough of a piece of a guy to kind of keep him from closing down. Dolphins kickoff team might need some work. I thought our kickoff team was bad in preseason, and I didn't think we were very good on one against the Jets in week 1. But here our kickoff return did a fantastic job. You need touchdowns like this when you're playing a great team. Don't fret, guys. I think we can beat the Dolphins. I will have a coverage video incoming tonight for you guys to check out. Appreciate y'all checking the video out. If you've listened this far, you probably already are a subscriber. And if you are, please consider sharing this on social media to help my videos get more reach and exposure. Thank you for you guys' time.